Once upon a time, in a peaceful valley surrounded by towering mountains, there lived a horse named Orion. Orion was no ordinary horse. He had a shimmering coat of silver that sparkled like the stars when the sun hit it just right. His mane flowed like liquid silk, and his hooves struck the earth with a rhythmic power that made the ground tremble. Orion lived in a stable near the village, cared for by an elderly woman named Greta. Greta had raised him since he was a foal and loved him as if he were her own child. He had been with her through thick and thin, always by her side when she needed him most. One crisp autumn morning, a rumor spread throughout the village. The mountains were hiding a treasure, an ancient chest filled with gold, jewels, and forgotten wisdom. Many villagers talked about it, but few dared to venture into the mountains for fear of the treacherous pirates and wild animals that lived there. Greta, knowing the dangers but believing in Orion's strength and courage, made up her mind. She decided that she and Orion would search for the treasure, not for wealth, but to discover the long-lost knowledge it promised. With a loving touch, she saddled Orion, and together they began their journey into the mountains. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the path grew steeper and more difficult. The wind howled through the trees, and the sky darkened, but Orion wasn't fazed. His strong legs carried Greta up the steepest inclines, and his sharp eyes helped them avoid the hidden dangers of the wild terrain. After days of traveling, they finally reached the base of a great cliff, where an ancient stone archway stood, half covered in ivy. This was the entrance to the secret cave that housed the treasure. But as they approached, they were stopped by a low, menacing growl. From the shadows of the cave, a great, fierce mountain lion appeared, its golden eyes glowing in the dark. Greta was afraid, but Orion stood tall. With a gentle nudge, he urged Greta to stay calm. The lion growled again, its tail flicking in warning, but Orion took a step forward. He wasn't afraid of the lion. The two locked eyes, a silent understanding passing between them. Orion lowered his head, his gaze steady. The lion hesitated, then turned and disappeared into the shadows, sensing that Orion was no ordinary horse. With the lion gone, Greta and Orion entered the cave. Inside, they found not only the treasure chest but also an old stone tablet, inscribed with wisdom passed down from generations long forgotten. The treasure was real, but it was the knowledge contained within the tablet that would bring true value to the world. Greta and Orion returned to the village, the tablet in hand, knowing their journey was one of courage and discovery. The villagers hailed them as heroes, but Greta and Orion knew that the real treasure wasn't gold or jewels, it was the bond they shared and the lessons they had learned along the way. From that day forward, Orion became known not only for his beauty and strength, but for the wisdom he and Greta had brought back from the mountains. He wasn't just a horse, he was a legend, a symbol of bravery, friendship, and the pursuit of knowledge. And so, the valley continued to flourish, not through riches, but through the legacy of the horse who had ventured into the unknown and returned with treasures that could never be measured by gold.